Hey there, this is Mr. Dan with Touch Technologies, and today's presentation is going to be on loops and counters. Sheerpower is a specialized programming language. We designed it to develop business applications. So Sheerpower is not for everyone, but it's for a lot of people, especially those who are developing business applications. So today we're going to be talking about loops and counters. Sheerpower provides a number of loops and counter statements. A variety of statements are available to make your coding easier to understand. You have a do at the top, a loop at the bottom, and in the middle, whatever statements you want to have, print statements or running subroutines, whatever you need to do. Well, within these do loop structure, this one here, you can exit do, which gets you out of it. You can repeat do, which repeats the whole loop. While statements are supported, until statements are supported. Of interest, by the way, is that normally what you do is, for instance, here we're going to count from 1 to 10. We have a counter, set it at 0, do while counter less than 10, increment the counter, print the counter, goes to the loop, goes up to the do, checks the while, keeps going like this. What's interesting is that Sheerpower also supports the while statements within the loop. So not just up here, but also you can have multiple while statements and multiple until statements. That's a little something special. Here's a few more ways you can express yourself looping in Sheerpower. Here's an example here of the until statement. Start a counter at 0, increment the counter, print the counter, loop until counter is equal to 10. We also have what's called a one-time loop, and it's kind of an interesting construct. It's used for those situations where you have a code block that might need to conditionally early exit, or it might require repeating. So here counter equals 0, here's the do, here's the end do. Again, if I didn't have anything here in the middle, this would just do, end do, and then continue. It would not do a real loop. But here, counter equals 0, increment the counter, print the counter. If the counter is less than 10, we repeat the do. So we go back up here and just keep doing it. And otherwise, if it's greater or equal to 10, obviously it falls through to the end do, and we're done. As you probably notice from just a couple examples that we have, loops are often used in conjunction with counting. It's very, very typical. Sheerpower provides a simple way to count within loops. This is done with for next loops. This example here we're going to start with, we're going to count from 1 to 10. Notice that index, the word index right here, this can be any variable name as long as it's a real or an integer variable. So we're going to count from 1 to 10. For index equal 1 to 10, starts here, ends here, print the index, next index, pretty simple. This time we're going to start at 6. So for index equals 6 to 10, print index, next index, and in this case here we're going to count by 2's. So for index equals 6 to 10, step 2, print the index, next index. So nice and simple, easy to understand, easy to read. Sometimes there's a need to just keep counting forever until some condition is met. In this case, we want to iterate through all of the SPSRC files. These are Sheerpower source files, by the way, that are in our Sheerpower folder. We're going to exit when we run out of files to look at. So we say for index equal 1, you notice we're not saying to something, we're just saying for index equal 1, and this says start at 1 and just count forever. And of course it's not really forever, but it's a billion is what it counts to, so that's pretty much forever. We're going to use the find file function here that just says, given a file specification, find the index number file. So give me the first file, give me the second file. The variable file dollar will be a blank string when we run out of files. So we start the index at 1, we go forever, get the file. If the file is equal to nothing, exit 4. Otherwise, print the name of the file, next index. So this just sort of goes forever until file is blank, then we're going to exit out of here. Within the for next, we can also do an exit for, which says get out of here, just like up here. We can repeat for, which repeats the current iteration. So if index was a 6 and we did a repeat for, index would still be 6. iterate for says go to the next number. So if index was 4 and we did an iterate for, or let's say index was a 6. If index was a 6 and we did an iterate for, index would now be a 7 because it iterated it as opposed to repeat, in which case it would have stayed at a 6. Here's an example here. For index equal 1 to the size of some structure, some cluster called riddles. If the riddle answer is equal to nothing, we iterate for. Okay, simple enough, which means we're just going to get to the next one, iterate for. Otherwise, we print from the riddles cluster the answer. And that's how loops and counters work. Now let's try writing some code with them. And up here we go. We're in the development environment. Start a counter at 0, do while. Great, okay. And then here we're going to do it until. Here's the until statement. We're going to be doing a repeat do here. Pretty simple. Then we're going to start a counter from 1 to 10, index equal 1 to 10, we're going to do that. And then we're going to count from 6 to 10, just like you saw in the example. Then we're going to count by 2s, and then we're going to find all these files. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll run the program. This little running man here says run. Here's our while statement from 1 to 10. Here's the until, 1 to 10. Here's the repeat do, 1 to 10, just like we saw. Here's counting from 1 to 10, simple. Here's counting from 6 to 10, right here. And here's counting from 6 to 10 by 2s. And finally, let's take a look at this code a little more carefully. Find all the files in a folder. We start an index at 1. It's going to go forever incrementing. We use the find file function in Sheerpower, and we give it a file specification, star dot whatever. And we give it an index number, which starts at 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5. It gives us each file. When it runs out of files, this will be a null string. We exit 4. And otherwise, we print the file name out, and we get the next one. And here we go. And we have all these different test files. And that concludes this particular tutorial. Please subscribe, of course.